The story that I have here is Joseph and His Brothers. It's retold by Catherine Storr, and we have pictures by Chris Mullen. I see here Joseph with his wonderful, colorful coat that his dad has given him, and he's so happy about it. Well, from this series here, we are going to be reading this story that is taken from the Old Testament, one of the first stories we read from the Bible in the beginning, from the beginning, right? Well, it tells us here exactly Joseph's background. Well, there was once an old man called Jacob. Yes, and you'll start to see here in the first page, Joseph and Jacob, right, is an old man, and he had several wives and a great many children. He had 12 sons and 1 daughter. Of all his sons, he loved Joseph the best. So it says here that he does truly love Joseph a lot, the most. That is the case here at the end of the day. Well, Jacob made Joseph a lovely coat of many colors. He did not give anything to the other boys. This made them angry, right? Because he has deliberately done this, and now he's put him in this situation where others will notice that, will feel bad. Maybe he feels like they already know that he's kind of loved the most, but he has let this happen, and he wanted to give it to Joseph. One day Joseph said to his brothers, I had a wonderful dream last night. I dreamed that we were all out in the fields. We were binding wheat into sheaves. Mine was the biggest. All your little sheaves came and bowed down to mine. So he was bold enough to say this. He just wanted to be honest. He wanted to let them know. He felt like this was a powerful dream, and he wanted to let them know. If this was going to be a foreshadow of what's going to happen, that's what he felt that it was going to be. Well, he had to let them know. And here are the reactions of his brothers. They're not happy about that. And so what happened was they were furious. It says here on the next page, and you'll start to see them right here. The brothers were furious. Just because you are our father's favorite, they said, you think you can lord it over us, don't you? The next day, Joseph told them another dream. I was sailing along in the sky, and the sun and moon and 11 stars bowed to me. Now, the brothers really hated Joseph. They agreed they would kill him if they could get him alone away from home. So they were talking among themselves about this. They did not like that he is continually maybe like putting them down, but he again is being honest, and he feels this is powerful. Here he is praising God and also trying to understand this all and trying to just do what it is that he felt he needed to do and share his dreams. Well, sometime later, the brothers, it says here, sometime later, the brothers were out in the country. They were looking after their father's sheep and goats. Jacob said to Joseph, go out into the country and find your brothers. Then come back here and tell me how they are getting on. So they are out in the fields. Joseph is just there to check up on them, not necessarily going to help them. Well, it says here, when the brothers saw Joseph coming across the fields, they said to each other, look, here comes the great dreamer. This is our chance to get rid of him. Let's kill him and throw his body into that pit that was nearby. They were talking about them and really, really considering this. Wow, so scary to think that his brother here, who's approaching him, is now far away from the home, and this is what he is approaching. Well, but the eldest brother Reuben did not agree. He said, don't kill him, just throw him into that pit. He thought that he would come back later alone and rescue Joseph. So he tried to convince his brothers, because this was the best way for them to all calm down here. And so you'll start to see them around Joseph, about to try to get him to go in that pit, closer to that pit. Toss him in that pit, right? Because Reuben has saved him and prevented him from being completely killed. And this is what brothers are doing right now to one brother. In unity here, because they were just, that's how much they were in disagreement with Joseph and his kind of like logic and his mindset and his wisdom and what was going on with him. Well, They didn't like him so much that they did go through with it. You'll see Joseph here in the pit. When Joseph reached his brothers, they took off his coat of many colors and threw him into the pit. Reuben was miserable and went away on his own. The other brothers sat down to have a meal. So they're like, okay, this is not going to bother us whatsoever, but it did to Reuben. And so this is unfortunately a very, very, very deeply troubled kind of situation they're in right now for everybody. This is close to death. It's not death here, but that's how much opposition and anger and hatred and violence that was brewing up. While they were eating, they saw a crowd of merchants coming along the road. They had camels loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, which they were going to sell in Egypt. Still thinking about Joseph here and just glad that they did the major first step of getting rid of him. Well, they were probably thinking this is what they're going to do, to go have him join here the camels so that he can go far, far away. Then Judah said, I have an idea. Instead of killing Joseph, why don't we sell him? So they hauled Joseph up out of the pit and sold him for 20 pieces of silver. Okay, they really are trying to get even money from this situation if they can. Get rid of him and not even care that they're doing this for money. And they don't care here that it's hurting their brother. It's ruining any type of brotherhood that they have ever built together. This is so unfortunate. That this has come down to this. Well, after the merchants had taken him away, Reuben came back. He looked into the pit. Joseph was not there. Reuben was not with them, so he didn't know that he was sold. Reuben thought the other brothers had killed him. He was very upset and said, what am I going to tell? So he was thinking about what they're going to tell their dad, but also just the fact that Joseph is gone. What am I going to tell Jacob, my father? He is thinking right now. Then the brothers killed a goat and put some blood on Joseph's coat of many colors. They took it back to their father and said, we found this coat with the blood on it out in the wild lands. It looks like the coat you gave Joseph. So as if they didn't see it happen, they're saying that this is what happened. This is their dad being very concerned. Jacob saw that it was Joseph's coat, and he believed that Joseph was dead. He said, an evil beast must have eaten him up. I shall never see him again. And Jacob wept for his favorite son. So he just assumed, okay? The brothers didn't say that this is exactly what had happened. At least at the end of the day, he didn't completely have all the proof, but he assumed it. He assumed that his son has been eaten up by an animal here. He'll never see him again, and he was very, very grievous. And Jacob wept for his favorite son. No one could comfort him. He was feeling so down here because this is not something that he can take lightly. This was a lot for him, very much. Jacob did not know that Joseph was alive in Egypt and that one day he would see him. Yes, again, when they get older, years later, it is something that can happen. Well, this is also a map here of closer to Egypt and where the story had taken place. Here is the northern part of Israel. Wow. We know that it's going to have a good ending in the end, meaning that they will be reunited and things will work out. But what a wonderful story here. We start to see is going to lead to forgiveness here big forgiveness, because at the end of the day, God is the one that is consistently there for Joseph, Jacob, and everyone here involved, for him to allow this to happen, but also have them come back together, knowing that it can be this relationships with his brother and his relationship with his father to be good again, even though it took a lot of time for them to be apart. God is sovereign, and he has helped them grow into the person that they are, and also the people that they have become later on in life when they got to reunite. And it made it all a better reunion.